The book written by the great Zahiriddin Muhammad Babur contains the following lines. Everything returns to its beginning, both pure gold and silver and lead. National revival begins with the acquisition of identity, learning and comprehension of the nation's own history and culture. The history of Uzbekistan has seen the greatest surge in science and art. This is the Eastern Renaissance of the 9th-12th centuries, when Uzbek scientists made unique scientific discoveries that advanced world civilizations. And the Renaissance of the 13th-16th centuries, reign of the great Amir Timur and the Timurids, associated with the revival and dawn of the literature, poetry, architecture, book art, and traditional crafts. Today, for the first time on its scale, the issues are raised related to the importance of the culture of Uzbekistan, the successor of the great states that have been written unforgettable pages in the universal heritage. The state and the president have, over the past few years, not only preserved the country's intellectual property, but also created conditions for studying this heritage.
O'zbekistondagi yangi uyg'onish davri, ya'ni 3-Renessans poydevorini yaratishni o'zimizga asosiy maqsad qilib belgiladik.
At the initiative of President Shavkat Mirziyoyev announced at the 75th session of the UN General Assembly during the grandiose Week of Cultural Heritage, Khiva, one of the most ancient cities on the Great Silk Road, hosted an international cultural forum, Central Asia at the crossroads of world civilizations. This initiative was supported by the head of UNESCO, Audrey Azoulay.
Biz 2021-yilda UNESCO bilan hamkorlikda qadimiy Xiva shahrida Markaziy Osiyo jahon sivilizatsiyalari chorrahasida degan mavzuda xalqaro forumni o'tkazishga tayyormiz.
Uzbekistan is open to the world, and this is noticeable not only in politics, but also in the spheres of art and culture. One of the striking manifestations of this policy is the multimedia project Cultural Legacy of Uzbekistan in World Collections, unique in its design and scale, which today celebrates the 5th anniversary of its work. To implement this project, an editorial board has been set up in Uzbekistan, which included renowned scholars orientalists. The council is headed by Academician Akmal Saidov, Academician of the Academy of Sciences of Uzbekistan, and the Academician of the Academy of Sciences of Georgia, Rtveladze, was appointed the scientific leader of the project. The general management of the project is carried out by the honored journalist of Uzbekistan Firdavs Abdukhalikov. The project, which started 5 years ago, is a sequence of events and actions. The main and relevant idea of the project is the creation of a huge factual base, comprehension and cataloging of the masterpieces of the cultural heritage of Uzbekistan created on this ancient land, but for various reasons stored abroad. In the largest museums and manuscript collections of Russia, Europe, America, and Asia. These are archaeological artifacts, rare manuscripts, and unique miniatures, works of applied art. The project has reached agreements on cooperation with outstanding researchers, orientalist scholars, curators of priceless collections of foreign museums, funds, and private collections. For 5 years of work, the broadest international contacts around the world have made it possible to study the collections that were previously hidden in reserves and funds. However, it is impossible to realize the true value of heritage without them. Colorfully illustrated albums are also catalogs of outstanding work stored in foreign museums and libraries. To date, 35 volumes of book albums, The Cultural Legacy of Uzbekistan in World Collections, have already been published and presented to the world community. These days, the participants of the Congress will be able to get acquainted with 15 new book albums to be presented. Thus, by the anniversary of the project, 50 volumes of book albums will have been released. These books are visible implementation of government initiatives to study and popularize the country's cultural heritage. The multimedia project also involves the creation of videos that are included in the book albums. Filming took place in the most authoritative museums and libraries of St. Petersburg and Moscow, Berlin and Dresden, Leipzig and Stuttgart, London, Cambridge and Oxford, Delhi and Tokyo. In general, more than 50 missions were undertaken abroad and within the country to organize the material collection and film production. The implementation of such a great-scale project had aroused the genuine, deep interest of the scientific community and Orientalists around the world. The grand congresses, forums, and media events which they participated in demonstrated the community and unity of world scientists in understanding the importance of learning the spiritual heritage of the past and its significance for the future. At congresses and media events, scientists present dozens of new topical scientific studies concerning the richest history, culture, and traditional arts of the East. For 5 years, hundreds of new scientific articles have been written and published. As a result of these studies, more than 800 papers were presented at 4 congresses and 10 media forums of the project, which took place not only in Uzbekistan, but also in Great Britain and France, Germany and USA, in the Czech Republic and Poland, in India and Japan. The world has never seen such a large-scale phenomenon when scientists from all over the world have united to study the heritage of one country. In 2017, during the first International Scientific Congress, The Cultural Heritage of Uzbekistan, a path to dialogue between peoples and countries, held in Samarkand on Registan Square, the idea of creating the World Society for Study, Preservation, and Popularization of Cultural Heritage of Uzbekistan was uttered. In 2018, within the framework of the Second International Congress in St. Petersburg, this prestigious organization was established, uniting eminent scientists from many countries and all those who cherish the history and culture of Uzbekistan. There, the Charter of the Society was approved and its Board and Scientific Council were elected. And then, in 2019, in Paris, the World Society was officially registered. Today, the international community unites 600 scientists around the world who work on more than dozens of new projects, which will certainly bring new discoveries and new sensations. For the first time, on the universal scale, issues were raised about the significance of the culture and art of people of Uzbekistan. The roadmap adopted by the previous First Congress, Cultural Heritage of Uzbekistan, the foundation of a new renaissance, combines several new directions. Those, the serious architectural epigraphy of Uzbekistan and 100 outstanding manuscript monuments of Uzbekistan have already been received wide international recognition. The goal of this direction is the publication of facsimile copies of the best manuscripts created in the past of the territory of the powerful states of the East. This cycle became a logical continuation of the already published within the framework of the project copies of Uthman Ketalangar Quran and Great Literary Monuments. Another new direction of the project is the publishing series Science Culture of Uzbekistan in the Works of Scientists. The editorial board republishes monographs which were created in the past by scientists of Uzbekistan and are of academic interest. Currently, topical issues of the history of Central Asia architecture and aspects of cartography of Uzbekistan's archaeological sites are being studied. From the first days of its activity, the project donated all its publications to educational and cultural institutions, not only in Uzbekistan but also in other countries. There are more than 10,000 copies of book albums containing videos donated to libraries of the largest universities, scientific institutes, museums, and embassies of Uzbekistan in foreign countries. The socially oriented, charitable activities of project are one of the effective forms of international diplomacy. treasures of oxus and the shimmering shine of golden jewelry of Amir Timur's native Barlas clan, unique manuscripts with seals of the great Baburids, masterpieces of Transoxania's book art. New, unknown pages of the life of powerful states that once existed on the territory of Uzbekistan. Great mysteries and riddles of history. How much more is it still to be done to open new pages of boundless and unique culture of this land, which belongs not only to Uzbekistan, but to all mankind.